The high seas begin 200 nautical miles from a country's coastline. They're distant, they're dynamic, and they're big. A biodiversity hotspot in the high seas is the Costa Rica thermal dome. It's an area of upwelling where nutrient-rich water moves to the surface for migratory animals to feed on. There are animals like turtles, marine mammals, tunas, sharks. The Costa Rica thermal dome is also an area of intense fishing activity. Using the methods I've created, we can identify which corporations are fishing in this area and where they are based. Corporations headquartered in distant nations are the predominant actors fishing in the Costa Rica thermal dome. This borders Latin American countries and has a lot of impacts for how we think about policy and management of this biodiversity hotspot. Even some fishing vessels that were flagged to countries like Ecuador were actually owned by corporations headquartered in Spain. I want to know who the high seas fishing industry is. While that seems like a simple question, before some of my research was published, it was unknown. And that's because a lot of these fishing vessels, they are on vessel registries that are not connected to the actual corporation. So the owner of a vessel could be listed as a shell company. So that's a company that doesn't actually exist. So my research wants to connect each individual high seas fishing vessel to the actual corporate actor and who is benefiting from this fishing intensity and fishing activity. With the use of satellites and machine learning algorithms, we can identify where a fishing vessel is in the high seas, what gear they're using, and how long they're fishing for, which is really important for my research because I want to know how many hours each fishing vessel is fishing for. Once we know where a fishing vessel is and how long they're fishing for, these manual techniques that I have developed come into play. So on these fishing vessel registries, there are clues that I can look at in order to figure out who the actual corporate actor is. And that could be an email that I would then look into, or a physical address that I put into Google Maps, or a name or a phone number. It could be anything. And these little clues pieced together can help me figure out who the actual corporate actor is, which is really important because a lot of these seafood corporations don't want anyone to know where they're fishing. They actually, a lot of times, don't even disclose where they're fishing to their shareholders. These corporations are playing from a consistent and specific playbook that allows them to hide from accountability for their actions that they have taken against the marine environment and against protecting biodiversity. This research allows us to think specifically about how we protect biodiversity and provide a unique lens to think about accountability for marine environment impacts. So when we view attribution for high seas fishing through a corporate actor, rather than through a flag state, we can engage with decision makers in new and exciting ways.